Listen, I want to say something. I might be getting, I ain't, you know what I'm saying, I'm getting in trouble. I know I ain't getting in trouble. But, I'm going to tell you, man. I'm going to tell y'all something. Y'all, listen, don't, there's an epidemic on tobacco. Now, this is what I got to say to my tobacco people, companies. Just clean it up. If I was, I mean, I made a different tobacco when I had the money to do it. I made my own tobacco. That's a tobacco that Indians used back in the day, but it was healthy for you. Somehow it helped my asthma, and I just quit. I don't know if y'all can mass produce this, but and I don't remember. They stole the recipe I made. They stole it. No, it really wasn't a recipe. I just found it. It might have been a recipe. I did probably put it with something there, but and at that time everybody out here was smoking a lot, and we wanted to all quit smoking. And but in my situation now, at the moment, it was a support system. I mean, it was more than that spiritually, and it was something I had to do, and I can not talk about it on here because I really haven't got the details about it. It's more, I just can't talk about it on here. But you gotta know who you are though when you're dealing with tobacco, really, and the way that particular ancestor utilized it. Everybody might not have that ability, so I wouldn't recommend it. But now let's go on the more physical. I've been through so much in my life and went through so much, and I had quit so much at such a rapid pace. Not really. I've been working on myself for about 20 years, 15 years. Let me see. I started working on myself before I started working at my job, TI Automotive. I was working at TI Automotive for 15 years. So I started working on myself at the job before TI Automotive, which was Fruit of the Loom. And that's when I met these, I was working with Guatemalans, Spanish, Puerto Ricans, racists, everybody. That's one of my favorite jobs. And when I got to that job, I was down at my worst. I was down to my worst. So I was at TI for 15 years, and I tried to keep a job for at least 5 years, depending on how the job treat me. It was probably rare that I stayed at a job for 2 years and quit. Normally I stay 5 years. I have reasons. I always invested my money, so depending on how the job paid, you know. But it wasn't ever that much more though. I was probably back then I was leaving job for $2 more because they wasn't paying that. Nobody was really paying that. But when I got to Fruit of the Loom and TI Automotive, they treated me quite well. TI Automotive, I was working with I started working with Russian, Belgian people, German people, and they just kept showing me love, bro. And then they were real, man. They were real like I am. You know, they were over the plant. So they were purposely coming in to ask you questions. Most people lie, you know. And they didn't know that was the test. And since I was always straight up, I was just telling the truth. And I wasn't no snitch. I wouldn't tell on folk. And when people would tell on me and we go to the office, they'll fire that person. Tell me don't do it again. You know what I'm saying? I was like, why you fire them? Cause they shouldn't never tell. They should have been minding their business. And that's why I like them, bro. I was like, oh yeah, I stayed with them. And anytime they asked me to work, I would work, you know. I love to work. And then one time they got being a real asshole one time. One time, it wasn't long though, but like the job was going through something dramatic and they really needed me there. And I was the kind of person who could work everything at the job. Even if I wasn't an engineer or maintenance, they would have me do their job, help me let me help them do their job. And of course, I'm learning in the process. And one day, they made me work 16 hours. And I already had to go work. We had to work 12 hours every day anyway. And I was like, I need to go get some sleep. And they said, go upstairs and get some sleep. And you know what I'm saying? That was just one time though. And I wished I'd have did it though, because now when I look back at it, they were serious about it. I guess if I would have did it, they probably would have. But every time I did something, they would give me stuff for it. They would give me a huge raise, or they would let me go on jobs with them, you know, make extra money. Or give me the company car. Go get what you want. And bring my car back. Stuff like that. It was cool, man. But anyway, so reason why I say that, because I started healing that for the loan though, which had a great supervisor, everything. Everybody at that job was awesome. And even the racists. It was gangsters there. It was straight thugs and gangsters. It was a lot of gang affiliated gang members there, different affiliated gang members. Everybody had nice rides. You could just tell something was up with it. And I just fit in fine, fit right in. But and they wasn't I don't know why I'm even talking about this, but they wasn't picky on who they hired, man. Just as long as you want to work. And it was a production job. You got paid by production, so I'm in there with Guatemalan, Hispanics, you know, all them, Puerto Rico, all that. I had to get it because you got to go get the stuff. You got to run and get the stuff. And it's batches. This stuff weigh pounds. You got to push it by yourself. But as you can see, I was a compactor. So, and the boss was watching me. And you talking about you picking up stuff you can't see over it. It's pounds of this stuff. You can't see over it. It's wide. And the boss watched me for a week. He was like, they were waiting on me to fold because I was just so small. Everybody in there was small, but they were tough though. It seemed like they wasn't small. Everybody wasn't small. But I was small though, compared to them, yeah, probably so. But everybody in there was solid, bro. And if they was small, they were about like Bruce Lee. Solid. And you can tell I was fresh out the street. So the boss watched me hard. We had I forgot what they call those people. Everybody loved each other in there though. We all did. We cared for each other now. And it was this batch, a lot of it. And you got, like I said, you by yourself. You got to run. You got one barrel of these batches is in the 1,000 pound, but you got to line up about 7 or 8 of them. So you got to run, get them, sew them up, push them, line them up, put the teeth in there, because you making shirts like these. Put the teeth in there, you got to line the teeth up. And and steam just coming in your face. You know, it's just constant steam because they got to keep the shirts hot so they can spread them out and stuff like that. And when I was working there, they were looking for me to fall off. I'm just be real with y'all, because at that time I was on that girl real bad. Not real bad, but I was on it though. And at that time, by the time I needed a job, I was trying to recover off of it. It was 5 years before I started TI. And like I said, I was at TI for 15 years. So went to work there by that time. At that time, I didn't smoke or nothing, but I was doing some heavy stuff though. But it was time for me to recover. I fell off because my brother was murdered, and my ex fiance left me at the same time my brother was murdered. It wasn't nothing there. My brother and my ex fiance, they probably had something going on, but it wouldn't have stopped me and my brother from being real with each other. It wasn't my brother, it was her fault, hell. It really ain't never your friend fault. I mean, I can't say it ain't never your friend fault. They shouldn't do nothing like that. But the way me and my brother had the game going, we wasn't gonna turn each other down for no woman. You know what I'm saying? Because if she with you, she for you, she shouldn't be. It's her decision. It ain't. People gonna hit on your girl. People gonna hit on your lover in general. It ain't your. It ain't about who hitting on your lover unless they disrespecting you. I mean, unless they disrespecting her, keep pushing up on her. It's about them saying yes. Them going over there. It's them. It ain't got nothing to do with the people. The lover gotta stay in line. And the same thing when I was saying about these people on the down low, like find somebody that love you so you can quit hiding in the dark, you know. And like I said, that ain't got nothing to do with me now. I love women, just women only. But these flames, these twins got something else going on though. They're women, okay. Cause you gotta keep telling that with y'all. Y'all got there, y'all out there wilding, bro. But wild life. So anyway, I'm going through all this. So I lost my brother. I lost my eyes in the back of my head when I lost my brother. And then my ex-fiance, I had that surgery, and my ex-fiance rolled me out the hospital and said, you know I'm gonna leave you because we both with nympho. We both were wide open. And I was like, yeah, I know. And she rolled me in that. She was like, throw me in that car and drove off without me, bro. But like I said, after that I hit rock bottom. I lost my eyes in the back of my head. What I mean by that, I lost a lot of money. Couldn't make no money because you couldn't trust nobody like that. Me and my brother had started doing that at 12, at a young age, 14. I was that old, but they weren't much older. I was that old, but they wasn't that much older. They were probably 14, 15, 16. There were five of us, but when it came down to the muscle and doing the heavy lifting in the street, it was him, me and him. And I ain't talking about just dealing. I'm talking about actually doing something where nobody needs to see it, know about it. And I fell off. I just fell off. I ain't had nobody already. That was all the family I really had. I mean, my grandparents, but that don't count when it comes to the young thing I had going on. So I fell off. You know what I'm saying? By myself, I fell off, shoot. And then that's all I can say about it. So when I fell off, that's when you start getting high with your own supply, basically. I fell off, and I said, I gotta get myself back together. I got to the point it got bad, and I started getting reckless. So I went to Fruit of the Loom, and I still wasn't smoking though. I still wasn't smoking. I was smoking when I was young, but by the time I started working, which was, well, I was always working, but when I got to them jobs, I was up in the age. I wasn't smoking or nothing like that, but I was doing other stuff. So I got to that job and I started dealing with the Guatemalans and stuff, and they were talking. We was all talking, and it's something about hearing uplifting stories from other gangsters, real gangsters and thugs, and they pitied me, man. They felt sorry for me. They were like, It was like I was embarrassing myself to them. Like, why? How could you allow yourself? And I'm like, I thought this was gangsters do anyway, but not not these. They were like, nah, bro, you breaking down, you falling off. And they started helping me get myself together, and especially this cat named Nacho. They started helping me get myself together, and and I got myself together, and then that led all the way up to the job closer to home, which was TI. And then I really got myself together. And I got into holistic stuff, eating healthy and stuff like that. And then I knew I needed an outlet though, because I was doing so much. And at this point, I started quitting stuff a little rapid. And but at the same time, I was trying to recognize energy. I didn't want to just quit nothing because I ain't never quit nothing because what everybody else thought about me. You know, I wanted to quit wholeheartedly. So I found a trick to manipulate myself to quit things, and I knew it was more psychological and in my brain. I knew it was my brain. It was a chemical imbalance in my brain. I was like, well, I gotta find a way to quit this stuff psychologically. I gotta get myself right because I started recognizing the energy faults in myself. So let's say I did an upper drug and it gave me energy. So I thought, well, I was still athletic pretty much still, despite all my even born issues. So I purposely took myself to a gym and I ran so long on the treadmill sober. Cause I started recognizing the energy before then. I knew something was off, but I had to be sure, you know. So I went to a gym and I ran as long as I could, sober. Did good, had a good day, everything went great. Then at this point I'm tapering off stuff. I purposely went back to the gym after I had a previous night of partying. And it wasn't no alcohol, nothing like that. But it was a substance that I felt like I needed for energy. So at this point, I'm thinking I'm doing this drug and it's helping me, no matter if I'm doing music or working. And come to find out, when I went to the gym, it was not working. I was losing myself. I wasn't even being able to run half of what I was able to run. It was like they were not distant apart. It shouldn't have been that rapid of a change. And I was like, wow, I've been hurting myself. So I went and talked to a teacher. At this time, I was studying with other teachers. And I was telling them my experience. And one of the teachers knew about substances, and they were like, maybe you need to learn what you put in your body. And that's one of the moments where you gotta take constructive criticism and learn from it. Really, all the time, though. So instead of me getting in my feelings about what he said, because the way he said it, I could have gotten in my feelings about it, but something told me to embrace it. So I started studying what I put in my body, and I realized it was lying to me. All drugs, don't no drug give you energy. They just steal from your higher self. I was like, oh, okay. And now once I got that in my mind finally said, shut it down. I needed my mind to shut down the part that kept telling me, I need this drug to do music. I need this drug to do this. I need this drug to do that. So as I started tapering off, which was very much more healthier for me, I started taking from the drug that I like it, what I liked it from the drug. I liked it the way the drug did my music a certain way, made me more comfortable. So as I faded from the drugs to my sober self, I just took that ability from it because it was stealing it from my higher self in a way. And it was easier for me to stop everything. All right, but at this time, y'all, I'm still constantly getting attacked. And I didn't know my family had all this kind of stuff in motion. So I'm still constantly getting attacked. And it ain't like they were doing because they hated me that much. It was like it was an experiment, and they needed me to be down. They needed me to be jumped off. They needed me to be prostituting myself or something, whatever. They needed me to be broken all the way down. And it really ain't even their fault. It's some experience, whatever they had going on, it was of the devil. That's why I said it could have been from some organization, whatever. It was not good. It was totally unhealthy for any family to practice this. So I'm constantly getting attacked. So what I mean by that, nothing is getting better as I'm quitting and bettering myself. Nothing. Only thing I had during that time is God still. I read the Bible, I still stay with God, still pray. But I was still constantly getting attacked. People were stealing my cars, all kind of stuff. And they were scheduled, they were like people was getting these people to rob me. You know, family members probably. And at this time I didn't know it. I was going to school, college, and I was working 2 12-hour jobs. I was just wide open, and I'm constantly getting attacked because I had to work. Otherwise, wasn't nobody gonna give me no money to support myself like in this situation. This was what they wanted. So like they would always put me in a situation like that, but I would go to work and get myself out of the situation. And finally, this time they said, well, we'll unalive him. We'll just unalive him so he can't get a job. That's what's messing everything up, whatever plan they had. So that's what they did. And it stopped me from being able to work. And they finally was able to get me to stay trapped. They want me to just stay trapped, watch TV and sleep, and just live like a person that can't take care of themselves. That was the plan. So like I said, it really wasn't even dealing with whatever evil tactics, plans that they had in motion to steal whatever the hell they were planning on stealing. It was just all a waste of time, man. I know when I heard these street people that ain't even from here say, we can't let him get up. If he get up, we all done. They was all planning on not working. And then I asked the girl about it, and she told me, she said, your own family, it could have been a mama or a pop, but she told me, she said, we all living off that, you know what I'm saying, money. I ain't even believe it. I still really don't, buy it like that. I was like, what money? They ain't never gave me nothing. Nothing but a hard time. So at this point, the tax constant. By this point, I'm talking about a tax that your life is threatened. Death attacks consistently for years. All the time. Get to the point where they couldn't kill you physically like they were trying to kill you. They'll try to kill you through poison somehow. Whether it's poison, sending a poisonous lover to you or whatever. It was constant attacks over and over and over and over and over and over. So by this time, I'm smoking a cigarette. Because I'm like, I'm still going to heal, but I'm going to smoke these cigarettes. But the thing about it is, though, as I started elevating, I started tapping into my gift. And the spiritual realm actually told me something about smoke. And I just realized I could probably smoke. And I never really liked to smoke because my lungs is messed up bad. But when they told me that, I just realized it. Then come to find out, they really wanted me to learn. Well, I don't know what their intentions was, really, but it was a lot in learning about just the abilities of my body. And by smoke, it was something I can't talk about it. But it showed me something that my body be doing that I need to know that it can do. And that helped me wake up a little bit more. So by me saying all that, y'all, if it's not for you, don't do it. And even me, I still don't like to do it, even though I can do it. And you hear me, some of y'all that got the cameras in, you hear me talking to my ancestors about it, because eventually I quit I don't like nothing to control me, so whatever I'm on, I quit for a while and stop, And I just put books in the place of it, read stuff, whatever, something healthy, because you got to transmute the energy. And after I did that, uh, after I did that, um, by this point, like I was saying earlier, though, by that point, I got to the point where I ain't care nothing about death no more. Death was irrelevant because it been coming towards me so much. It's like, man, is you gonna do your job or we gonna keep doing this? Telling death that I ain't finna worry about you no more then. I ain't got time to worry about you no more. I'm trying to do what I can to please my father. I'm doing the best I can with what I got. I ain't got nobody, ain't got no friend, no love. I ain't got nothing in this physical world to help me with no support system at all. I ain't got no kid stand. I'm not finna worry about you too. And it was just like that right there. Just like that right there. Like, hey, finna move forward. I ain't finna keep on babysitting this garbage y'all got going on. So I'm telling the spiritual realm, I'm talking to death like that. I ain't finna keep going back and forth with all that. Because you start having so many near-death experiences, you start to feel different about it. So, one thing, I had a goal. I said, if I'm gonna keep getting attacked, I'm gonna have to have a goal to where I make sure I beat these attacks no matter what. And the goal was to not only stay with God, but to keep strengthening myself with God as I get attacked. And that's what kept me anchored down the right way. But so if y'all are going to make this an epidemic, and I gotta hear this from the spiritual realm, my advice to y'all, I already smoke when I'm on this thing, but my advice to y'all is choose healthier habit. But if you feel like you got to, well, hopefully they'll clean up a lot of the chemicals that they're putting in these tobaccos. Get rid of it. Because it's like, you know, you ain't putting it in the vapes, but you can put menthol in vapes. That means you don't need all the other chemicals. All the addictive chemicals, get rid of it, man. Just get rid of it. Quit being so prideful, get rid of it. You don't need that kind of money coming through all the time anyway. At this time, you should be ready to accept a little lost in money just so you can help the people and say it ain't about. One thing that I noticed from doing a lot of studying in my life, that a lot of these stuff came into fruition that accidentally, I think, programmed man to think we need people to die. Well, the only reason why you was even thinking like that because you were setting in motion for people to populate more. And that's why I like these games y'all got where you re-navigated people, twins and flames and soulmates. Well, common sense would tell you then if you don't want nobody to take twin flames or soulmate, then you want people to keep having babies because that's what's going to probably happen. They're going to keep going into these failed relationships until they finally bump into the twin flame soulmate or whatever, right? So that's what a massive count come from when it comes down to the head count of population of man. So you finding that if you could just stop contradicting yourself, we can all move forward and let God be God. That population gonna drop on its own. You ain't gotta set up these failed tactics to kill people, to slaughter people, to feed some egotistical maniac ego. You let them go. You don't even need, if you're an egotistical maniac, you don't supposed to have a leading position, period. Not even a CEO position. You could probably be the third man. War, we get together. We need the war to win. We just a war conversation. Even though they try to call me a war guy, but I ain't no war guy, I don't think. You know what I'm saying? At the most, probably Michael. I still prefer, I think I'm Adam. I would like to say I'm Adam more if anything. But I guess, like I said, Michael. I don't know about a war guy. You be third man at the most, fourth to third man. War, we need to win a war. Which kind of strategic move you got? Otherwise, you can't be in no leader position. And you don't see good like everybody else. You see bloodshot, red eyed. Get out of here. Get out of here. We don't need you today. But anyway, that's what I do. Um, uh, that's my advice to y'all out there. I told y'all all that to let y'all know I've been through a lot. So by this time, I'm still by myself, and it just makes sense. Let me just say that. Doing what I do, and then with the spiritual realm, got what they got going on. For me, it just makes sense. But honestly, I can't wait to be able to stop it and move to transmute to another energy. But if I didn't, and I finally would be out of this situation, I would start back smoking what I created. And it didn't just help my lungs, it helped a lot of stuff. It even helped purify my skin. Why ain't we creating stuff like that? I don't know. It's just about the money at the end of the day. Is it about the money or killing folk? That's what we gotta ask. I said, what are you doing? You know? And I realized being on this journey with God, a lot of stuff that we seem to be attached to, being humans, being in our human ways, is totally irrelevant. They totally irrelevant, pointless stuff. So anyway, I hope that helps somebody. But you gotta be careful with that. You gotta be careful with that. Y'all, it's not good, it's not healthy. And then they poison my tobacco a lot. You'll be amazed what they can put in tobacco, oak or whatever they put in tobacco. Like, not the company, but the people who are stalking you. They'll sell a whole, they'll just sacrifice a few of their own that just to kill you. You better know it. You'll be amazed what money will do. So, but anyway, I hope that helps somebody.